Welcome to Changed for Good, Life Elevated Through Christ with LSI Studios. In this podcast, we explore the ways in which Jesus Christ can make a lasting and elevated change in our lives. Because of Him, we can become more than we were and also receive grace for where we are on our journey. I'm your host, Britta Benyon. Okay, today we have John Tobin here, and John's a good friend of our family. We've known him for a while, and I would say well-known in the area. A lot of people know John Tobin, so we're so glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and the cool thing that I have to just bring up real quick is we did an episode with Nate Summit not too long ago, and he mentioned you in his podcast because you were influential in him learning about the gospel. So that was really neat.
But yeah, so I'm going to mention him in mine also.
Oh, good.
No, I mean,
great.
He thought I was helping him, but he was helping me way more at that
which
time.
is such a cool, yes,
Yeah.
It's so neat how that works. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, John?
Grew up in Staten Island, New York. I'll be 67 years old. We've been out here for 30 years. Grew up moving around, one of 8 children. We lived in the projects for a while, which was a great bringer-upper.
Yeah.
Make you grow up quickly. And then we moved to a house in 1968. My dad had a triple bypass in 69. He was a New York City fireman. My mother was expecting her 8th child. And so there was no Social Security. There was no anything for about 2 years. And so I was I think I was 8th grade. So I had 2 brothers older and 1 brother younger. And it was pretty much, his favorite expression, get a job.
Wow.
Do what you got. You want some money or do you want, And we'd come down in the morning and hit the thing. Yeah, the lights are still on. And we weren't destitute or anything, but it was hard. The stories my mom tells me now, you don't know as much as a kid.
Yeah.
You're just out playing and having a great time. We had dinner every night at 5:30, a hot meal. There was always food, and I don't know how.
Wow.
His pension was when he finally started getting paid, it was $8,000 a year. And just 10 people, $8,000 a year.
Yeah.
I can't do math very well, but
That's, yeah.
But I think it was a large part of because it went from him never being home to always being home.
Yeah.
And the operation was a failure, so they gave him 2 years to live. He took an insurance policy against the city of New York for $100,000. My mom did. So if he died within that first 2 years, she'd get $100,000. And even now that would be good money, but at that time it would have been unbelievable for her. So he just walked around the house waiting to die.
Wow.
And it was horrible. He was the happiest guy I knew to just waiting to die. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
So he said, the heck with this. Went back to college, and it took him 5 years to get out of high school. So he wasn't a student. They let him take the lieutenant's test so he could get the 8,000. I think it was 7,000 for a regular fireman. So they let him take the lieutenant's test. He passed it. Then he graduated from Wagner College in less time than he graduated high school. And we always joked about that. And the only time we ever went out to dinner as a family was to celebrate his graduation.
Oh, wow.
The first and last time.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
We used to eat at home,
Yes.
It was a great experience. It was like a major big deal at the Esquire Club.
Oh,
yeah,
neat.
it was a big deal. So
So he lived long past those 2 years.
he died out
like.
here. Yeah, they came out here. My parents and my brother James, my sister Liz, that have been out here a long time. They've made their mark for sure. My dad was one of the first guys. They started the senior softball out here in the 80s. And so he was the first one of them to die. So it's, I don't know how many years now, almost 30, is the Tom Tobin Memorial Senior. And teams come from all over the country. And
Cool.
yeah, it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's really exciting.
That's awesome.
So anyway, he graduated college. He taught my wife, Monica, in high school.
Oh.
But he said, this is crazy. I'm not putting up with these kids. I can get my Social Security and make the same amount.
Yeah.
So, this is a lot of work. That's what he said to me. Teaching's a lot of work.
It is, yeah.
And so then they moved out here in 79 or 80. Started doing that. He had tried out for the World Series 60 and over team down in Phoenix and stuff. I don't know if he made it and stuff, but he was at that. Just incredible that he was even alive.
Yeah.
And so he was refereeing volleyball, baseball. He was a great baseball umpire. And basketball. He was terrible. But he loved it.
Yeah.
So they said you could do everything but basketball.
Okay.
And so he would tell my mom he's going to play cards, or he's going to the store, I have to go pick something up, or I'm going to the senior center to play bridge or whatever. And he would go ref.
Yeah.
And he's refereeing a game between Mile High and Granite, and he has a massive heart attack. And they've done nothing since his first heart attack. Luckily, the team's Candy Tenney was in the game. So Harold and Kitty were there.
Okay.
Yeah, small world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the first
people that you knew later on.
They introduced us to the church.
Yeah.
And so
crazy.
Yeah. So he died at 61.
Okay.
Because the will to live. I honestly, he grew arteries out of his old arteries. Because there was too much muscle damage the first time. He needed a heart transplant was the only thing he could do. They couldn't do anything else. Wow. They didn't have the statins and
amazing.
Yeah. Plus he made crosswords when he used to have to get them accepted by newspapers and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, no, interesting guy.
Yeah. So what lineup were you and the kids of 8? Third. Okay.
Third. Four boys. My poor sister Elizabeth. She has Liz Catering out here. She's another one doing really well. I mean, she's owned and had restaurants all over the place, or ran them all over the Tri-City. My brother James just retired as a Prescott Valley PD. He's now the director of substance abuse and domestic violence at Yavapai College.
Oh, neat.
My sister Jackie is down in Phoenix. She's a vice president for Chase of mortgaging or some big thing or whatever. Everybody did well.
Good.
Everybody did really well. And most of them stayed out of jail. No, I didn't mention a few brothers. No, we all did really well. And it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of patience, at times when I was coaching or teaching with someone telling me, you don't understand my situation. Yeah, I probably do.
Yeah.
And you just have to overcome it.
Right.
Whatever it is, you're going to keep getting hit with all these things. But I remember staying in college because at times sitting there saying I wanted to go home. I was homesick. I missed Monica. And I said, no, if he could do it, I could do it.
Yeah.
And how do I go face him? And I had a full basketball scholarship. How do you throw that away?
Yeah.
I just wasn't thinking at the time. So luckily I stayed and I graduated. But.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's life is what you make of it, right? That phrase is true in a lot of ways. And in a lot of different ways, I guess I would say.
You can apply it to so many different
So many
areas.
things, yes.
The other thing was living in that melting pot in New York, and we had a bus stop right in front of our house. So people came from blocks around for the projects, wherever, to wait on that corner for the bus to take you to the ferry, and then you could go anywhere in the world. Penn Station, Grand Central, the airports, just one bus ride and a boat ride into Manhattan. And you were there, and we would sit there a lot of times and talk. And, his main thing was people are people. Doesn't matter their color, doesn't matter their religion, doesn't matter whatever. Take everybody as they are, because I was the only white guy on not the only one, but that year I was the only one. My brother Timmy played 1 year, George Hayes played, Russell Clark played 1 year, but it was down in the project. Nobody even wanted to go down there.
Yeah.
And Monica used to go to the games with me. She was the only white person within 15 miles of the
And
place.
Monica's your wife?
Yes.
Yes.
Sister Tobin.
Awesome.
Yeah, we met in the 8th grade, but that's a whole nother story.
That's a whole other story. Okay. That's great.
Yeah, so it was, I wasn't allowed to go to the dinners because it was sponsored by the Black Panthers and the Brown Bombers and black organizations. They didn't want any white people at their dinners or meetings or whatever. Yeah. So you'd get your trophy and your jacket or whatever we won at the thing, whatever they were going to get at the dinner. And so one time I won a full scholarship to the Oscar Robertson basketball camp. He was like one of the greatest players ever, right? No way I could ever afford to go to a camp like that. Whatever, brand new sneakers, tops, bottoms, shorts, whatever. And my coach, Chops, one of my, as close as my dad, had to walk me home and tell me that they can't give it to a white kid. Oh. They thought that, sending it down here, a kid that's going to college, he does the right thing, he, stays out of trouble, blah, blah, blah. Whatever their criteria was, I met, but I wasn't black.
Wow. So
I think I was disappointed, but he told me the same message. People are people, John. Mm-hmm. You don't let it get you down. Don't let it ruin your spirit, And so I had some great people like that to instruct me along the way.
So good.
And like you said before, it comes out in all areas of your life.
Yeah.
How about in this culture? In the
Absolutely,
church?
Yeah.
It was a culture. People talk about culture shock.
Yeah.
It's
true.
Spiritually not too far.
Yeah.
But work habits and family, a lot of the things we just slid right into. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the things were foreign.
Yeah. Just
and I
different.
found myself.
It was an adjustment.
Yeah. I was out of place in a lot of circumstances just because either someone didn't get what I was saying or I didn't know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Or, what do you mean? It's like the first president to the second counselor of the third. All of that stuff. I was just, I didn't have any, but.
It's a lot of terminology and a lot of
vocabulary.
And yes.
But luckily we had Monica and I both had a good spiritual foundation in Catholic school.
Yes, you were raised Catholic.
Yeah, 12 years of Catholic school, both of us.
Yeah.
We went to different high schools together.
Oh, nice.
She went to an all-girls school, which then went co-ed, and I was at an all-boys high school. Okay. And, we started dating when we were 16. Mm-hmm. And,
now, how'd you meet?
A friend of hers, Timmy Casey. George Hayes claims that he introduced us to one another, but that's not the story. This is the true story. Timmy Casey, God rest his soul. It was sad at that time. He died of a drug overdose. There was so many. He was a great athlete.
Yeah.
There was so many of those guys at that time in the 60s and 70s that just, waste.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was a pretty good athlete. And I was playing football on his team, and he said, "Hey, man, you got to meet this guy." So, and I could dunk a basketball when I was really young. So I went down to their neighborhood or whatever. And the kid had a basket in the driveway. And they were like jumping up on the wall and getting it or kicking off the thing. And I just ran up there and dunked it. And everybody's like, "Oh, my God." So I guess she was impressed.
Yeah.
And then I said, we were standing around. I said, "Do you want to go for a ride on my bike?" She's like, "Yeah, we get to the bottom of our hill. We were just talking about this. We just passed our 45th anniversation.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And so I gave her a kiss, and I always joked, that was it. She was locked. She was, "You didn't even walk me back up the hill."
Oh, no.
So, and that's pretty much the way the whole marriage went. Are you going to pick up your socks? Are you going to make the bed? Are you going to? Her trying to work on me, work on all my faults. But so that was a really interesting. I know more about the Catholic faith now since I never left it. But since I joined the Church of Jesus Christ, I mean, I never left it culturally.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Rich Tenney says, "I'm Catholic plus." Tell your friends you're Catholic plus now.
There you go.
If they don't like you not being Catholic anymore. It wasn't, for me, it wasn't a big leap at all. For Monica and I.
Yeah.
Through high school, whenever, I read the Bible almost every single day. I just never missed it. But I wasn't getting answers. Wasn't getting any answers.
Yeah.
As far as their doctrine and stuff, everything was a mystery, or it didn't have to be explained. Just do what you're told. And now knowing that everything isn't a mystery, it's just that was the answer I needed when they were asking, when we were investigating the church, the plan of salvation.
Yeah.
Where are you going to go when you die?
Yeah.
I asked my mom now. She's 91. It's so sad. I hope this. I don't know. That's a fear. That's a real fear that I can't, as much as I took. And then we got proof, which I won't get into, but I've received proof since we've been in the church. In some baptisms, in some revelations that we've got, visions that we've had, things that we've seen. You can't unsee what you've seen. And the proof was given to us really quickly. And then we did our patriarchal blessings.
Yeah.
And that just, But I went off on a tangent because I forgot what I was talking about that first question.
That's okay.
You're supposed to keep me in line.
I'm working on it. We're doing good though, I think.
All right, we went back to Catholic school, 8 years. She went to Notre Dame. I went to Mont Carmel. She was from Randall Manor. I was from the projects.
Yeah.
That part of West Brighton. The chances of us meeting were 1 in a million, or even the whole when you look back on it, and then the path to get to this.
Yeah.
Together. Holy smokes. It's not impossible because it happened.
Right.
But that's a good message for anyone that thinks that they don't fit, or you guys are all this, or that's just your excuse. It was mine anyway, of not giving up the things that I wanted to do. I still wanted to go to the track and gamble, right? And have a beer every once in a while. If I wanted a cigar or, whatever, I'd given up smoking. By the time we came in, we weren't drinking or anything anymore, but it was a change. It was a huge change.
Yeah.
But that wasn't that hard, because now knowing there's a whole purpose to it. Like, you go to the temple, you're doing your family service, you're baptizing vicariously or by proxy. Wow. I did my brother, I did my dad, I did my grandpa, we've done probably 40 people or so that we've baptized. That it's just the feeling every single time is incredible. Doing the Lord's work, and that you're given that opportunity to do His work.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. And I'll tell you something that really flipped me out through this, because in the beginning, well, you wanted to know a baptism story.
Okay, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So, December, I'm just saying this so that it gives you some chronological order. June of 16, I'm looking for a job. I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I can get a teaching job in a second. I'm looking for maybe some administrative jobs or whatever. So I have a heart attack. Monica was my nurse in the hospital. I go in, listen to all these blessings. I go in, I don't feel good.
Yeah.
They're like, a lot of people come in and don't feel good. So Monica was working, luckily, and she knows I don't want to drive past the hospital. I don't go see her for lunch. She's been there 20 years. It's got to be an emergency. She's got to meet me downstairs, or I can't go in there. And I've been in there so many times that I really hate it now. But anyway, so I go in, and chest pains, pain down your arm. They do the troponin, no evidence of a heart attack. Okay, we need to give you a stress test. Have you had any coffee? I said, yeah, I just left my mother's house. I had a cup of coffee and a piece of cake with her. I said, I got to go get something, Mom. I went down to the hospital because I knew something wasn't right.
Yeah.
He was telling me something wasn't right. Get down to the hospital.
Yeah, meaning God, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he was yelling at me. And so Monica said, tell him you got chest pains.
Okay.
Or they're going to send you home. And with the coffee, they couldn't do the stress test. So they had to admit me.
Oh.
In that next hour, I don't know how much time, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, I don't know, but within an hour, I had the heart attack.
Wow.
I'd have left there, got in my car, and had a massive heart attack. And depending on where I was, what turned out here was Dr. Mawala and her whole team was in the cath lab. So when I was laying in bed, Monica looked, she goes, what's the matter? I said, there's an elephant on my chest. My circumflex artery was 98% clogged. Ooh. That would have been a massive heart attack.
Yes.
So she yells to one person, get the morphine, you get the oxygen, goes out in the hallways, calling the cardiologist, whatever. They had me in and out of there in under 8 to 10 minutes. So no muscle damage, no tissue damage. I go back a month later and the guy does the thing and he goes, are you sure you had a heart attack? I go, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Positive.
Positive. He goes, you have no tissue or muscle damage. How is that possible? I said, do you have some time? I'll tell you how it's possible. What do you believe? I know what I believe. I know what I was praying about. Yeah. And we had a pretty good conversation with that. That's neat. But anyway, so I had the heart attack. Lost a ton of weight already. I was walking 5 miles a day. So in October, 3 days after I get out of hospital, I take the job as director of special ed at Mountain Oak School on Willow Creek. Mm-hmm. because Monica said, I know you're in great shape, you're doing fine, you're not going to sit in the house. So I took that job. In October, I'm in the middle of my 5-mile walk. I'm downtown Prescott, and there's a guy making a right on red, and I said, can I go? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. I start going, and he drills me with his car. So June, and I had to wait a year to have the surgery because I just had the heart attack, and I had the Plavix and everything else. So the blood thinners for my heart, so they couldn't do surgery.
Oh. Yeah.
Unless it was emergency, and it wasn't. It was just painful. Ended up going to Colby. Colby was in on it.
Oh,
Him and Monica in cahoots. Yeah. So that's June, October, December. December 10th, we get baptized.
Wow.
Because a lot of people said, oh, you must have had your brain injury when you joined that church. You must have had brain injury. And wait to hear my first words were the adversary. So 10 we get baptized, 11 the confirmation, the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. That night into the next morning is the 25th anniversary of my dad dying, December 12th, 91. So this is 16, right? That's 20, it's 21 years. No, that's 21 years.
Yeah.
No, he died in 1. That's 25 years. 25-year anniversary of him passing. Getting up out of bed and a full ground fall into my end table. Broke my nose, traumatic brain injury, out of it. I had to resign that job. It's the only reason I mentioned it. I had to resign the job because it knocked the ocular motor, ocular ligaments, whatever in my eye out.
Oh, wow.
And so I looked down at the paper, and it's how many years now. But anyway, when I woke up out of that, I was unconscious. Luckily, Monica's there again, woke me up, and I said it was too late. He was too late. If the devil was trying to get me, it was too late. Because I'm already baptized. I already got the Spirit of the Holy Spirit, confirmed by the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
There's nothing he can do to me now. But it's been a long 6 years. It's coming up on 6 years. Okay. Just started driving again.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about I can't do. There's so many things I can do. But so I have all of those things, right? It's enough trials and tribulations. I lost 80 pounds. I'm in really good shape. Me and my daughter, Virginia, she wants me to help her coach the middle school in town at Mile High.
Yeah.
La, la, la. You know, I hate basketball. We're not even going to touch on that. So
you say that sarcastically.
Yes,
just
of
for
course.
The record.
For the record. I was supposed to have the back surgery before I had the heart attack. Heart attack, hit by the car, brain injury. Now it's 2 years, 3 years after that. Oh, no, I had to get my hip surgery, too, from the car accident. I had torn the glute from the bone. Colby didn't tell me what they had to do until like a year later. 2 years, at least a year or so, I was in a walker.
Yeah.
It was painful. It was the most painful of all the things that I had to do. That was bad, that hip. I wouldn't do it again. I'd just limp or do whatever I could, take Tylenol or something. But, so anyway, I get the back surgery. Perfect. He said, John, it was 100%. They just took the bone out, I guess. They shave it down. He said the nerves were red. The tips of the nerves were literally red. He said, it's a good thing we did it now. Put it back in. I'm in great shape, right? My daughter says, you want to coach? We go, great. Driving home. Bang! Got hit by a drunk driver. Rear-ended. And it herniated the disc on the side of the surgery. So, I when someone asks me, sometimes I'll tell people, sometimes I don't. If I think that they're going to use it for their own strength or, you know, it's not a war story.
Yeah.
It's not a war story. I'll tell you that because look at me now. I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Maybe better shape than I was 10 years ago. But I still got these little, he's still humbling me. He is constantly humbling me is the only way that I could see over 6 years, all these different, tore the rotator cuff, but it wasn't a complete tear, so I'm still, you know, all of that. I mean, I don't even think about him anymore. There were so many things. 2 discs in my neck. It's been a mess. But without the church, without the people in the church, without the community, without the family, Jordan Olson pops up at my house the other night. Like, what are you doing? With Doug.
Yeah.
Winter.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a cool guy.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you doing? Our house is completely empty because we're selling it.
Yeah.
There's no seats. There's no, you know. So, great visit, right? We're pumped up again. And the missionaries are coming the next day for lunch.
Okay.
Or, no, dinner. I think they came for dinner that day. And I said, you know what? Nathan's Hot Dogs on Coney Island, you stand up when you eat. There's just these round tables and everybody stands up and eats. So we'll just stand at the counter. And
That's right.
Monica comes in the next morning. She goes, do you know who left the table and chairs out in front of the house?
Oh, my goodness.
Enough for 2, 4, 6 chairs and a 6-foot table or whatever it was. That doesn't happen everywhere. That people are thinking, majority of the people, you can't broad brush any religion, any people's, anything. Like I said before, they're
Definitely,
good and bad people and everything. But my experience, and the reason we even joined the church was when I said to Monica, I've been invited to this conference over at the church on Ruth Street. What do you think? She said, you're going. And you're going to listen. She says, you constantly telling me that all the great men that you've met since you've been out here and the only people you associate with, they're all in the church. Shouldn't that tell you something? Yeah, but I'm not that smart, hon.
Wait, so who was it that invited you? What did that look like?
Rich Tenney.
Somebody.
Yeah, we were living across the street from the Ruth Street for 8 years.
So that's a church building in Prescott.
Yes.
Okay.
Across from the high school.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And you lived across the street from that church building.
For 8 years.
For 8 years, okay.
Monica used to look out the kitchen window when she was doing the dishes on a Sunday and go, come here, look, it's the same cars. They're there for 3 hours. Nobody's leaving. They're not coming and going. It's not 3 services. What are they doing for 3 hours? She used to say all the time. And then they would go down and get, I believe it was Mrs. Johansson from the Las Fuentes in a wheelchair and wheel her up to go into the church. And I'm sitting on the porch and I'm watching all of this. Mm-hmm. President Tenney or Rich Tenney constantly sending the missionaries over. You know, and we used to laugh because he'd knock on the door. I'd go, wait a second. I'd take a sip of my beer and I'd put it down on the floor. All right, now you can come in. I don't want to contaminate you.
And how did you know Rich?
I'm not sure if it was through his dad, of course, but through basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, basically through basketball. Yeah, we played against one another.
Yeah.
And and you know what was really impressive that those guys said all the time was that, John, whether you join the church or not, doesn't matter. We're still going to be your friend. We're still going to do things or go whatever. And, you don't have to join the church to, And it was the truth.
Yeah.
They weren't doing it but you got to understand that okay, a lot of people don't take the time. The only church I haven't been in or facility is a Jewish synagogue, and that's going to happen. I went to that healing church in Manhattan where they got the crutches and everything, wheelchairs all up on the walls and stuff, and the people are going up there and they're shaking and rocking and rolling. I wanted to see what's happening, and when I landed, these guys, there was something like they say, everybody jokes about it, the feeling of the church, or even reading the book or all of that stuff, the Book of Mormon. But it really is. It's a feeling. I went back when my brother passed. I went back to a Catholic funeral back east. It was so depressing.
Oh.
It was depressing because they don't know.
Yeah.
Or they don't think they know, or maybe they do know, or I don't know.
Or they at least question they don't know.
Yeah, I hope.
Yes.
I hope there's another life. I hope I get to see everyone again. That's sad. And that's why people can't get out of uncontrollable grief or uncontrollable, I don't know if that's the right word, but where they're unconsolable. They can't be consoled because there's nothing else. I'm never going to see him again. I'm never going to. Yeah. And that is so sad. Yeah. And so for me, that was when I heard that. The other one was the Trinity. When I heard the Trinity. And what I started to say was what other people are saying about the church. It's a cult. They, blah, blah, blah. And I used to say, they remind me of the Jewish culture back east. Educated. They take care of one another. All the attributes that they had were very similar. And I love the Jewish religion.
Yeah.
in the Old Testament. We weren't allowed to read the Old Testament in Catholic school. That was the Jewish Bible.
Oh, interesting.
You only read the New Testament.
Oh.
I don't know if every school did that but they swayed us away from the Jewish Bible.
Got it.
They killed Jesus. They killed Christ.
Yeah. Oh,
and
interesting.
Jew dogs. Why would you want to have anything to do with those people?
Huh. So interesting.
Sad.
Yeah.
Not interesting, sad.
I guess interesting to me. I hadn't
Yeah.
known, or at least in that where you grew up, that culture, that's what it was in that culture, in that part
time.
of the world, and probably
Staten
others
Island,
too, but
Staten Island was 85% white at that time.
Wow.
Not white, Catholic.
Yeah.
And probably white at that time. Yeah, in the 60s and 70s,
so
sure.
at least 85% Catholic.
Catholic, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a different world.
Yeah.
I had a doctor, a former doctor, came up to me, like in terror. What's the matter, Doc? He says, is it true? I said, what? You joined the Mormon church? He was pale, like he wanted to get sick.
Wow.
And he was going to a church that has meetings about the evils of Mormon. You know, they have an hour session, like we have different meetings. That was one of their meetings. I'm not going to name the church, but that was one of their things. So he had his concept of what it is. He goes, do you know who Moroni is? I said, yeah, he was a great prophet. No, he's the devil. He is actually, and he's yelling at me in Costco. Wow. And he goes, all right, who got you into this? This guy must have been good, because I used to go to Bible studies with him all the time, and it was really powerful. It was good stuff.
Yeah, good.
It was really good Christian, Christ-centered stuff. And he said, who got you into this? Are you okay? Yeah, I've never been so happy in my life. And he said, so I told him, I said, if you really want to know, it's Rich Tenney. And I'll tell him, and he'll be more than happy to talk to you about how he tricked me into doing this. Yeah. But there's that. Not knowing. I've always been big on that, and I told my kids, find out for yourself.
Yeah.
That school stinks, this stinks, that. Go find out for yourself.
Right.
Because it might be perfect for you.
Yes.
Don't listen to all that other stuff. So, my uncle's a priest. They came out here, a Catholic priest, him and another priest, and he goes, what kind of church is that? I said, a Mormon. Oh, that cult.
Yeah.
And it's sad because you don't know. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't make remarks like that. Christian, Judaism and Islam are all waiting for the Savior to come back. We're all doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. We're just going about it differently. So I don't even know why we got to fight about it. But
it's true.
I remember saying to my uncle, the priest, one time, but why can't there be a God for, the Muslims? Or why can't there be a God for, Allah? If Allah came down and Muhammad and they, that's the way they were going to attract those people back to. No. There's one Lord, there's one God, there's one. And the Trinity, I dismissed. That's why Harold, I remember saying, Harold Tenney said, this could be a stumbling block before we joined it. I go, what? He goes, what do you believe about the Trinity? I said that it's three separate bodies that, he goes, that's not the Catholic faith. I said, I don't care. They didn't have any answers for me. It never made any sense to me. How it could be it's one Godhead, but they're individual beings or individual spirits or whatever. It has to, so that wasn't a big stumbling block. That was easy. And I could see people having a problem with that.
Yeah.
If that's something that they firmly believe in. Mm-hmm. So anyway, getting back to your other question about how did you get in, a missionary asked, how'd you get in? Rich Tenney, they said, you're investigating the church. I said, you guys are investigating us. We're not investigating the church. Well, Jeff Anderson, President Monterrett, Kurt Draper, Catamus, Rich Tenney, Harold Tenney. There was like this all-star of people that I knew really well.
Yeah.
I wasn't impressed that they were president or, whatever. They're just regular great guys to me. Mm-hmm. I just didn't know them any other way. And I say it to people now, what I thought at that time. There was no way that Harold would be in a cult. Mm-hmm. Or that he would believe the things that you're saying. And I say it to people now.
Yeah.
I said, do you honestly believe, you know me a long time, do you honestly believe that I would join a cult? Yeah, I guess not. Well, then throw that one out. Mm-hmm. That doesn't work. What else you got? Yeah. You know, you're going to get brainwashed. My brain needs a lot of washing. I need a lot of washing going on.
We all do.
Yeah, no. And that's the other thing. We weren't worthy.
If you look at it the way,
we weren't
interesting.
worthy. We couldn't never live up to the standard that these guys did and you guys. There's no way that we could do that. And we far surpassed most of you. No. Monica's like, oh, yeah, you've gotten really humble, haven't you? How's that humility thing working for you? And most of the things I say are in jest.
Yes.
Not most, almost everything. But that's my way of dealing with life right now, especially in the temporal world.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
It's hard to, we just traveled. We went to Denver. And you know what's great too is that Monica and I have been friends our whole life, so all our friends are the same people.
Yeah.
So our friend George and his wife, he's a year younger. How much younger she is? Their son got married up in Evergreen, Colorado. So we used it as our 45th anniversary getaway.
Oh, neat.
And he was like, "Where are you? What are you doing?" I said, "I'm having a good time. That's what I'm doing. We're just walking around downtown and." Whatever. So it was a lot of fun. But people are, just pushing people out of the way, and you know, they can be so mean. So we feel it's our duty to overcompensate and help out everybody as we're on the line. No, get in front of me. We're not in any hurry at all. Or no, get out, take that. But there's no more room on the bus. I don't care. Go ahead. We'll wait for the next bus. We're not in a hurry right now.
Yeah.
The service and the way President Nelson said. That I think he said 50%, I think it's 80% of everyone you run into has had or is having a traumatic incident in their life. Mm-hmm. I don't think the stat even matters. What it is, to me, how I see that is, if you approach that person that way, you're going to have empathy.
Yeah.
There's no way you can't have empathy. If you're not approaching it like, what are you doing? Where are you going? You know, like in an aggressive type of way, you'll approach it with empathy because... And somebody told me way back, and I used to do it, other teachers have done it and told me, go in early before school and sit in that kid's chair that you want to kill. He's ruining your day every day, whatever it is. He's just a monster, right? Mm-hmm. Sit in his chair and pray for him. Just close your eyes and pray for him as hard as you can. And let's see what happens.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And what they do is they ended up, and I said, and then find out what the kid's life is like.
Yeah.
Could be living out in the woods. There's kids out here living in the woods.
Yeah.
I had kids in my class that were out here. It's not just the inner cities and the A students have problems.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
You know, it's all perspective. It's all how you perceive
Definitely. It's
people.
something that we talk with our kids quite a bit about when they have, I don't know, when there's issues with another child at school or they see somebody being mean to someone else or whatever. We have a lot of conversations about, you know, about how that's generally a reflection of something going on in their life, or you know, especially if they're being a bully or if they're or just being mean in some way. Right. We kind of will make up a story if we don't know it, right? Like, who knows what if this is going on, or who knows if this is happening in there. Right. We don't know, and so it's super hard to judge. It's
hard for the kids not to. I just did a short stint in Coyote Elementary School. Mm-hmm. As an aide for the severe, profound, and moderate special ed kids. Mm-hmm. But the perspective I got, because we have 14 grandkids. Yeah. And all in the Tri-City. So 2 of them are in Coyote, 3 are in the high school, you know, all of that. So I got a neat perspective on, and I would ask kids, why were you being mean to that kid? Mm-hmm. You know? Well, he said that, or whatever. Sometimes you could get to the root to it, but a lot of times I was like, it's learned behavior. Mm-hmm. This is learned behavior, to hit, to kick, to curse, to argue. Yep. And that's sad.
Yeah.
But
you can feel empathy and compassion then for those children because you know it's not even their real nature, but it's just part of what they deal with. Probably from home or they're learning it. So, all right. So maybe we can kind of try to wrap. You've
covered
hit
just
almost
about everything.
Yes, you've hit like everything, I think, just in a roundabout way, and I loved it.
One of the other things that I learned that made it really easy was Well, something I want to say first, I can't thank the nuns and the Jesuit priests that I had. I didn't appreciate the education at the time, but I have extended education now because of that. That's the only way I got through college.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I got these other degrees or whatever. It just, the foundation that was set at that time. Yeah. And the smacks.
Yeah.
Brother Matthew, one time, I came out, he goes, get up to the board, Tobin, you think you're so smart. So I went up there, he goes, give me the answer. So I wrote the answer on the board. Boom, he smacks my head into the board. He goes, where's the equation? I go, I don't need one. Bam, into the board. Oh, no. I said, he goes, what do you mean? I said, I do street math. Boom, into the wall. I learned street math. I go, I can do the answer in my head. He goes, no, that's impossible, but I could.
Wow. Yeah.
I was like, no, I need you to write everything down and to have it. Because I said, do you think I'm cheating? I'll come up and sit in front. Don't be a smart. I'll get back in your desk. But they definitely kept. I had an incident in junior year of high school when I wanted to leave and go to a public school and play basketball. And my dad said, no, you're going to be a good little soldier. You're going to shut your mouth. And you're going to make yourself so good that this coach has to play you no matter what. Because the guy was just abusing me. Not physically, because maybe he was afraid, but mentally, mental abuse. And he did one kid every year. But he had me for 2. Oh. So he was drilling me. Yeah. If I took a shot, he took me out of the game. You know. Wow. Yeah, it was, you know, so he I wanted to transfer him, but it wasn't my dad could have went, all right, John, it's okay. I would call the other coach and say, and at that time you could transfer week to week, go to that school, and then 2 weeks later go to that school. No. Maybe you're not good enough to be. It wasn't about playing time or anything else. It's just that the guy was being, really bad to me. Mm-hmm. And I ended up getting a full scholarship. How I ever got back on the team and all of that, God only knows. But I kept my mouth shut, and I was obsessed with playing. But, all of those things that you learn from sports that I've learned in my life, coaching I started coaching in 78. All the disciplines that you need for life. Being told you can't go to this camp because, you're white, basically. Or getting cut from a team, or being late and having other people's consequence, whatever it is. If it's done the right way. And I had a lot of good coaches, and my dad and all, my mom, of course. I got to mention my mom. December 19th every year is Jackie Tobin Day in Prescott, Arizona.
Oh, that's neat.
Isn't that cool?
Yes.
Mayor Mangarelli did it. She retired from the chamber when she was 86. After 36 years, I think. Something like that at the chamber. Cool. It was her and the president, then they hired somebody, she had to train them, then they hired somebody, they had to train them. Then so she was like, she knew how to do, anybody went on vacation, she just took their job. Wow. Amazing. At 86. She still drives, 91.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So I think what's so neat that you've elaborated on so well is that there's been so much good in your life, right? Like so many good things and so many blessings that you've alluded to. Unbelievable. And yet there was something more that you found, and I know you mentioned it when you were writing to me about some of the questions, but basically, somebody.
What Rich Tenney said.
Yeah, and yeah.
He goes, John, bring all your stuff with you.
Yes.
You've got a great faith. You know the Bible. Just bring that with you, because there's more. It's not from the cradle to the grave. Yeah. There's more.
There's just more. Yeah.
It's just, and that was exciting.
Yeah, yeah. And I
wanted to find out.
Absolutely. And you ran with it, and you have gained just a strong, testimony of it, which is so beautiful. And I love that process really does mold and change us and help us become even more than we were, and then just blesses our lives in so many different ways. So one of the ways it's said in the Book of Mormon, when there's King Benjamin is speaking to all his people, and they say, yeah, we believe everything you said, and then it says, because of the Spirit of the Lord Omnipotent, which has wrought a mighty change in us, or in our hearts, that we have no more disposition to do evil, but to do good continually. And I think that's such a neat, and kind of what, it almost kind of wraps up what you what you have said, at least in my mind, because
Thank you.
there's that mighty change. You've had that mighty change, and now you want to just do good continually. You want to go be nice to those people that are all around you when they're not being so nice, in a busy city, or what'd you say when you're driving?
Yeah, when you're driving, people
Yeah.
cutting you off, and
Absolutely, yeah.
I love when someone flips me the bird. I just start laughing. I'm like, what is that? You're mad? What do you have to do?
I know.
How did you get that mad? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Well, and again, but when you're going back to what you were talking about with empathy, I think we do start to feel that for people because they probably don't have a good way to cope with their anger, or a way to manage it in a healthy way, and so it comes out in road rage or wherever else.
Well, that's the other way. I think I started saying that, and I cut myself off about when we thought that we weren't worthy. Anything that is in society is in this church. It's just at a much less level. Alcoholism, divorce, whatever. There are those things. Anything that anyone else is going. So we were wrong in that respect. Not that we weren't worthy, but that, friends of ours got a brother in jail. And, there's no, it's not, you're not perfect.
Right,
This
right.
isn't a perfect anything.
But
it's a great way to live.
Yeah, and we're still human beings,
Yeah.
struggling in a lot of ways, trying to figure things out. But when you follow the teachings of Jesus Christ, you are blessed abundantly, and the way that you're able to navigate those challenges is so much more. It's so much easier. It's so much better than otherwise.
I wanted to say this. I had a very hard time up till even last year. Well, I wasn't reading. I was just listening. And people ask me, well, what were you listening to? And I'm like, I don't know. I know it feels good. Because I couldn't, my brain injury was really bad. I couldn't process anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what I read in the morning, but I felt so good by the end of the day because I'd listened for 12 hours to the scriptures.
Oh, wow.
I looked in the Book of Mormon for this is my book. The Bible's my book. How does this match up with that? Is it the same? And it's not. It's in it. I know it's just another translation and it's in addition to. There are a lot of similarities. But that's not the point of it.
Yeah.
That's not, I'm just starting, and it's 5 years. Well, maybe really a year of being more cognizant.
Yeah.
But looking at it a different way. It as a testament on its own.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is true or if I in my own mind, just when I said that, why isn't there other faiths? They're going to find more books. There may be a book in China.
Yeah.
There may be a book in, he went around the world. Who's to say that, and the fact that the gospel has been restored, right? And the Melchizedek priesthood, what a responsibility. I was jerked around for a couple of days in my head. What a responsibility. Yeah. Because it was explained to me what, as a priest and what, all the wasn't just another thing. Okay, you gotta, no, it really hit me hard.
Wow.
Do you remember what I told you? You talked about change. You remember my talk at the state conference?
Oh.
When
I don't know if I remember it as well as you do.
No, I don't. I just know that the important part was, I don't know why Brent asked me. I was in the middle of my not knowing where I am, what day it is or whatever. And so I wrote all this stuff down, and then I had some scriptures for the end and whatever. And I got up to talk, and my notes were deleted.
Oh. Oh, no.
Ouch. So I sat back down. And what I should have been doing from the beginning, which I do every time now, is I just ask the Holy Spirit to give me the words that'll help one person out there today with their faith or their struggle or whatever they're going through.
Yeah.
See how you only have to ask me one question?
I love it though. I love how you're just and you just, like I said, you nailed all of it. You were just kind of finding your way around. So I appreciate you so much for coming in and being willing. And is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yes.
Okay.
The missionaries. And that was the reason I got into the church, because one of the Rich Tenney has said to his missionaries, you have to invite, I challenge you to invite one person to the conference. And so they're breaking up, and one girl says, who did you invite? He said, well, I got this guy I've been inviting for 20 years. And I just don't think it's good. She goes, well, why don't you give it a shot? And that was the phone call he gave me, and then that's what led to us. So you never know. I said, hey, do you want to go to this? And he tricked me. You want to go to this father and son thing? I'm taking my son, Weston, and my dad wants to take you, knowing I'm not going to say no to his dad, right?
Yes.
Because I love him.
Oh, that's neat.
So we went, and I go, this isn't a father-son thing or whatever. Just sit there and listen. And I did, and I listened. And I'm going, why are they talking about Israel? You know, gathering Israel. What do you guys have to do with Israel? Yeah. And why is the, you know, and he's like, just listen. And then we went to Denny's with all the other saints to have chocolate cake and whatever. Yeah. And I knew it was the right church for me. Actually, the first time I got up to speak, they opened up the curtains and there was a basketball court there. And I said, whoa, what's this? I'm like, oh, there's one in every church. Are you guys kidding me?
A basketball
court in every church?
I love it.
Did we do it? Ooh, another hour.
Thank you so much, John, and for your time and for who you are and for the blessing you are in so many lives. We just appreciate you so much, and thanks for your time. I want to thank our guest again for being here today. I pray that as you listened, the Spirit whispered to you the specific actions you can take as you move forward in your daily life. I know Christ is there, and that following those promptings will bring you closer to Him and to lasting and elevated change. May God be with you in your journey. To find out more, visit us at lsistudios.com, and to learn more about the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, visit comeuntochrist.org or reach out to us.